Chosen one, they're fighting over you minus someone just declared. You're the one before you scroll away. Take a moment. The fact that you're watching this right now may not be random. If you've been feeling an unexplainable pull or a growing sense that something is about to change, listen carefully. Let me say something to you that nobody around you has had the courage to say out loud yet. There are people in your life minus right now today, minus who are losing sleep because of you, not because you hurt them, not because you did anything wrong, but because they realize they almost let you go. They almost missed you. And now they're watching someone else see what they refuse to see minus, and it's tearing them apart. You didn't start a war. You just started becoming yourself, and that changed everything. Here's what I want you to be honest about for a second. You've been feeling invisible lately, haven't you? Like you've been pouring yourself into people, into situations, into spaces, minus, and getting back nothing but silence. You've been the one who stayed, the one who tried, the one who kept showing up even when the room felt empty. And somewhere along the way, you started to wonder, minus, maybe quietly, maybe at 2 a.m. when the world went still, minus, what is wrong with me? Nothing, absolutely nothing, is wrong with you. What's actually happening is something completely different, something most people don't figure out until it's too late. The people who overlooked you, they weren't blind because you were invisible. They were blind because they weren't ready for someone like you. And now that readiness minus, or the lack of it minus, is costing them everything. 1. The season of being underestimated is ending. There is a pattern that shows up in almost every person who eventually becomes someone others fight for. Before the recognition comes minus, before people suddenly start competing for your attention, minus, there is always a period of being misread. You get labeled as too much or too quiet. You get passed over. You get taken for granted. And the cruel irony is that this season doesn't happen because you lack value. It happens because your value doesn't fit neatly into what people were used to expecting. But seasons change, and the moment you stopped shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that were too small minus, something shifted. People could feel it, even if they couldn't name it. The energy around you started moving differently, and the ones who had dismissed you, they started paying attention too. You were never competing minus, but others just entered a race to reach you. Here's what's wild about this moment you're in. You weren't trying to make anyone jealous. You weren't performing or playing games or strategically pulling away to create desire. You were just living, healing, growing. Choosing yourself minus, maybe for the first time in a long time. And without meaning to, without trying at all, you created a situation where people are now competing for a place in your world. That's not manipulation. That's magnetism. And there is a huge difference between the two. Magnetism is what happens when someone becomes so grounded in who they are that the right people are naturally drawn in minus, and the wrong people feel the loss of losing access to that energy. You became magnetic, and now people are feeling the pull. 3. The person who once overlooked you is watching someone else choose you. I want you to think about someone specific, someone who had you and didn't fully appreciate what that meant. Someone who took your presence for granted, minus who assumed you'd always be there, always be available, always be patient. Now imagine what's happening inside them right now as they watch someone else recognize exactly what they missed. It's not just jealousy, it's something deeper, minus a kind of grief that comes with the realization that the thing you let go of wasn't just a thing. It was the thing. And someone else picked it up. Someone else looked at what you left behind and said, "I don't understand how this was ever available, but I'm not making the same mistake." That realization, that's what's fueling the fight happening around you right now. People aren't just interested in you minus. They're afraid of missing their chance. 4. Your healing became your power minus. And that terrifies people who liked you. Wounded, this is important. Pay close attention to this one. When you were hurting, certain people felt comfortable, not because they're evil, but because your pain made them feel needed. Your confusion made them feel confident. Your searching made them feel like they had something you needed. But then something happened. You started healing. You started asking better questions. You stopped accepting the bare minimum and started recognizing what real care and real love actually look like. You stopped dimming yourself. And when you did that, minus, some people got uncomfortable. They didn't like the new terms. They weren't prepared to rise to the level you were now asking for. But here's the thing. Other people, they saw that healing, and they were drawn to it like light. Because a healed person, a person who knows their worth minus, that's rare. And rare things, real things, valuable things, minus people fight for those. 5. Being the chosen one has nothing to do with being perfect. I need to clear something up, because maybe your inner voice is pushing back right now. Maybe you're thinking minus, but I'm still figuring things out. I've made mistakes. I'm not someone special. The chosen one energy has nothing to do with having everything figured out. It has nothing to do with being flawless or put together or arriving. It's about alignment. It's about becoming so honest with yourself about who you are and what you carry, minus that the people meant for. You can't miss you anymore. You're not magnetic because you're perfect. You're magnetic because you're real in a world full of performance. You're magnetic because when everyone else is wearing masks, you've slowly, bravely started taking yours off, and people are drawn to that authenticity like oxygen. The fight happening over you isn't about a fantasy version of you. It's about exactly who you are. There are people who prayed for someone exactly like you. This might be the hardest thing for you to receive right now, but I need you to hear it. Somewhere in your orbit, minus, maybe someone you already know. Maybe someone you haven't fully noticed yet. Minus, there is a person who has been asking the universe, asking God, asking life itself for someone with your exact qualities. Your specific kind of loyalty, your specific kind of depth, the way you listen, the way you show up, the way you love quietly but completely, the way you carry your pain without letting it make you cruel. They weren't looking for someone who looks a certain way or has a certain status. They were looking for someone who feels the way you feel to be around. And when they found you, something inside them went quiet in the best possible way, like minus, oh, there you are. You are the answer to a prayer you didn't know anyone was praying. 7. The silence from certain people is not rejection minus. It's intimidation. Let's talk about the ones who haven't reached out, the ones who are watching from a distance and saying nothing. You might be reading their silence as disinterest, as confirmation that you weren't enough. But I want to offer you a different lens. Sometimes the people who feel the most for you are the quietest about it, minus, not because they don't care, but because caring about you feels enormous. Because approaching you now feels like a risk they're not sure they deserve to take, because they know what they did or what they failed to do, and the weight of that is sitting heavy on them. Their silence isn't indifference. Their silence is them trying to figure out if they're brave enough, minus, or worthy enough, minus, to say what they actually feel. You don't have to wait for them. But know that the quiet isn't empty. It's full. 8. You're not too much. You never were. Someone minus at some point. Minus made you feel like your needs were excessive. Like your emotions were dramatic. Like the love you wanted was unreasonable, and the depth you craved was too intense for normal people to handle. That was never true. What was true is that you were in the wrong rooms, around the wrong people, minus people who were operating at a different frequency and couldn't match where you were trying to go. The person who is right for you, minus the people who belong in your world, minus, won't need you to water yourself down. They won't flinch at your depth. They won't retreat from your realness. They'll lean in. They'll meet you there. And the people fighting for you right now, some of them are fighting precisely because of the very things someone else once called too much. Your intensity, your heart, your honesty, the fact that you love like you mean it, that's not a flaw. That's the whole point. 9. What you do with this moment matters more than you think. Here's where I want to be careful with you, because this matters. When people start competing for you, minus when you suddenly feel wanted in a way you haven't before, minus there is a temptation to either give access to everyone out of gratitude or to close off completely out of self-protection. Both of those are fear responses. What this moment is actually asking of you is discernment. It's asking you to be still enough to tell the difference between someone who is genuinely growing and deserving of your trust, minus, and someone who only wants back in because they see others wanting what they once had. Not everyone who comes back deserves to come back, and not everyone who arrives new is the right fit either. Your job right now isn't to choose quickly, it's to choose wisely, to trust your gut, to stay anchored in your own worth while the storm of other people's emotions moves around you. You don't owe anyone access just because they finally decided you were worth fighting for. 10. The right person isn't confused about you. This is the one I want you to carry with you. When it's right, minus when it's real, minus the person who belongs with you won't make you wonder. They won't keep you guessing. They won't love you on weekdays and disappear on weekends. They won't tell you you're everything and then treat you like an option. The right person sees you clearly. They choose you clearly, and they keep choosing you, minus, not because you cornered them into it, not because everyone else wanted you so suddenly they woke up, minus, but because they looked at you and felt something they couldn't argue with. The fact that others are fighting over you, that's a signal. That's the universe showing you what you've been worth all along. But the one who deserves you isn't the one who fought the hardest after losing you. The one who deserves you is the one who recognized your value before there was any competition. Stay open to that person, because they're looking for you too. I want to end here with something simple. You came into this video feeling unseen, maybe feeling like the last person anyone would fight for. And I hope, minus if nothing else, minus you leave, knowing this, the story being written about you right now is not the one you thought it was. You are not the person who gets left. You are not the person who isn't enough. You are the person that people one day look back on and say, minus, I didn't understand what I had until it was almost gone. Almost. But it's not gone. You're still here. You're still becoming. You're still worth every bit of the fight that's happening around you. Let them compete. Let them realize. And in the meantime, minus, keep choosing yourself. Keep healing. Keep becoming the fullest version of who you already are. Because the right people, they will find their way to you. They always do. If something in this video touched something deep in you, minus if you felt seen for the first time in a long time, minus hit subscribe. Because this channel exists for one reason: to remind you of what you are on the days you forget. I'll see you in the next one.